excited. Let's make some progress here, and I want to show you how you can make referrals easy. Think about that. So let's go. Mastering the art of asking, or the art of the ask. And what I want to do is to impact you in such a way as you are comfortable asking for referrals. But to get comfortable, you've got to do some things first to get ready for it. So as we get started today, I want to cover this agenda. Here's what you're going to leave with today. Stay for the whole thing, because you're going to leave understanding why referrals are so important and why people refer. First of all, unless you know why they do, how can you do the things that get them to want to do that? So what that means is we're going to show you how to get that desire in the people who can refer you to the place where they're ready to do that. At that, you're going to get into the asking phase, and we'll talk about best practices. And I want to introduce you to the concept of a perfect referral. Not all referrals are perfect, and you'll hear more about that in a few minutes. And then we want to turn this into a habit. Now, it takes 3 weeks, if you read most popular information on this, to create a new habit. If we help you build a new habit, then you're going to end the always wanting for that next new lead, because referrals will continuously fill your sales pipeline. And that's the ultimate goal for all of us. Okay, moving on. We've already talked about the problem a little bit. The number one problem almost everyone has, and I talk to thousands of people and you hear it for yourself, is I need more business is working like it used to. Buried in digital media, I'm buried in social media. People are hit and miss and running, and as a result, people just aren't able to get to ideal prospects like they once were. That's changing, and I don't think it's ever going to go back. So let me get that. I skipped backwards for some reason. All right, so let's focus on the ask, and let's jump right ahead before the next bug crosses our screen. The first question I like to ask is who? Where do you focus building that know, like, and trust relationship? And the who is always best if you're talking to people who are already serving your ideal target client. Why that group of people? Well, it's because if they're already working with the people that you'd like to be working with, and you can build a trusted relationship and ask them for that introduction, guess what? You're going to find the quality of the referrals that come to you are greater, they're better, and you'll be able to be supportive of each other because your client will be their client. There we go. Now, to create that trusted relationship, there's a few guidelines that are just imperative to recognize. Number one is you don't need a lot of people. 20 to 25 people, and we teach creating your A-list. Your A-list is those people most likely to be a source of referral. Create that A-list, and then you're going to get in touch with those people on your A-list once every 2 weeks. That's every other week. You're going to reach out in a different way to talk with that group of A-list people in such a way as you're bringing information to them that represents things that they care about, that they're interested in. So you want to keep in touch. You're building engagement is what we call. That's the process of building engagement. You're showing up as a giver, and you vary how you reach out to them so that it's always in a new and fresh way. You're not just sending an email. You're sending an email and a text message and making a phone call and maybe a visit if they're in your same community. Okay, once you've done that, and once you've done that for 3 consecutive touches, that's what we call it, getting in touch. The odds are that for the majority of those people, you will have crossed a magic line. You will have crossed it into the ask zone. Now, why do we have such a thing as an ask zone? Well, the ask zone represents the point in time when you as a giver have triggered a desire in the person that you're working with, you're giving to, a desire on their part to give back. Anything less than that ask zone, you're like every other shouting voice in that person's life. But as you give and give and give into that relationship, you'll cross into the ask zone. With some people, you'll cross in sooner because you may have had an earlier relationship. But a very important point, it's subtle on this graphic. The important point is to accelerate getting into the ask zone. The things that you're talking with people about are always about their personal interests, not about your products, not about what you do, not about what you're looking for, not even about asking for a referral. You're not ready for that yet. You're talking about giving to people. And what you're triggering as you're giving is the power of reciprocity. Now, I use this little symbolic Christmas card list to say, what does the power of reciprocity look like? Well, imagine you've received a Christmas card from someone that you didn't send one to. How does that make you feel? For most of us, we're going to say, oh, darn, I better get a card off to Molly because I just got one from her and I didn't send her one. That's the gene or the power of reciprocity that jumps in on all of us. Well, as a giver into the relationships with the people who can refer you, you have the opportunity to trigger that emotion, move into the ask zone. And we do have a little technology. This PowerPoint is jumping around.
It's all good. It looks all
Okay.
good here.
It's all good with me. So let's keep going. So as you're growing engagement, in touch once every 2 weeks, asking becomes the process at the third touch, after the third touch, for about 80% of the people. And that's when the power of reciprocity goes to work for you. What gets you into the ask zone is the continuing engagement. You'll know you're there because you're going to find yourself being always on the minds of the people who are on your A list that you're doing this with. You give, they think of you when they think of something that you might like to do or see, or maybe someone you can help. Now we're going to move intentionally into the asking process. The first part was conditioning the people to want to do something in return to reciprocate to you. Now, what do you do when you go to ask for referrals? A few preliminary requirements. First, answer the question, is trust growing between us? Now, if you're making it about them, I'll guarantee you trust is building. And that bridge of trust is the highway across which the exchange of referrals will take place. Ask yourself, have you invested the time? Some people will be responsive in a week or two, 1 or 2 touches. Some people may take 5 or 6. Always get ready to ask if you've made a give, made one of those outreaches where you've given something. Always begin to ask after you've received a thank you for the give, because when the thank you is expressed, the reciprocity level is at the highest. And once the give receive process starts, meaning you've got a two-way exchange across that bridge of trust, it's now conditioned for a continuing exchange of value, and asking is a seeking of that value. Okay, here's a requirement. Now, I bet there's no one on this call today who doesn't have what you call an elevator pitch. Well, a referral power statement is a referral question pitch, an ask pitch. What I want you to do today is go write your ask pitch down, your referral power statement pitch down. Write it down on a piece of paper, print it out, put it on your bathroom mirror, and read it every morning until you get it close and memorized and comfortable saying it. A lot of people have trouble asking because they've never practiced the asking process. As you can see, there's one example here. Can you do a favor for me? If you know anyone who is in such and such an industry that would like to benefit from the kinds of things that I do, would you give me a call and let me know who they are so I can reach out to them? That's a very simple one. I'm going to show you some ways to make it even more effective. But the power statement is the starting place to move from uncomfortable to comfortable. Now, your question or your ask needs to be simple, natural, matter of fact. And by creating your power statement, you will get that way very quickly. I like asking favors and I like giving favors because when you ask for a favor, it's a positive request, and you're going to be showing people how they can reciprocate. Always ask at the end of a give, as I say, or getting in touch with someone. Now, here are some details, and this is going to be these are going to bring the distinctions between perfect referrals and everything else. Number one, when they're going to give you a referral, when they're ready to respond, teach them to prepare that response in writing with all the details. The details meaning who, contact information, even why they're introducing you. What you need to do is create a mindset, as I call it, of give and give back. It's circular. It's a bridge. Traffic is going both ways. And then practice, always practice. Now, here's a perfect referral script. And what I want you to think about when you look at a referral script, it's a description of what would be the ideal person for you to be introduced to. So what you're doing by writing this perfect referral script is getting your specifications clearly identified, but you're also teaching them how to ask you for referrals in kind. And you become the expert when you start to teach them what to do. So a good example is I help accountants who are trying to learn how to build their business back after the tax season, who are challenged by starting out in the marketplace all over again, or would like to expand their practice and add more people so that they can build a larger business. If you happen to know, think of, do business with people who are in that place, would you do a favor for me and call me, reach out to me? Get away from one of those emails, Tom meet Sally, Sally meet Tom. I don't like those emails. I don't like those social media introductions because I want something more personal so that Sally is ready to meet with me when I come in. I'll talk about rolling out the red carpet in a minute, but would you reach out to me with their exact details and then watch this, call them and tell them that you have given their name to me and to expect a call. Expect me to be reaching out. When you teach them to do that, what they're doing is preparing Sally to receive your call. The trust that the introducer or referrer has with Sally is being activated with Sally right now and transferred to you so that that trust is something you take in to your first contact with Sally. And then you ask them to introduce you to each other and why you're making the introduction. If you think about the referrals that you've given or received and you didn't know why you were being introduced, you know you're flying blind. Get your referral sources to answer why. Why are you introducing me to Sally? What you're trying to uncover is what are Sally's challenges that I might be the expert to come in and help her with. Very simple, but very, very important in order to get Sally into that perfect referral space. Now, I've talked about the transfer of trust. Here are some questions that you can ask when you're seeking to get referrals from one of those people on your A list who are ready to reciprocate. Will you introduce us to each other? how do you know them? Do they know about me? Have you reached out to them to tell them about me? Why this person or this company? Meaning what you're looking for is what are their needs? What do you feel are their needs? May I use your name? Very, very important, because taking the name of someone they trust into the conversation wraps you in that banner of trust as you're getting started. And then lastly, very, very important, what does he or she do? What do they like? Where do they go on vacation? Do they have a family? Are there kids? What schools are they going to? All those kinds of things are going to become conversational value points in your meeting with the person you're being referred to. And you go in there on a foundation of relationship, as opposed to coming in as someone vending a service that you're hoping will land you a new client. So there's some best practices, and it's important to follow these best practices because not every referral is going to work out. So you always say thank you when you receive a referral, even if it goes nowhere. Say thank you, send a note. What you're doing is teaching the person who gave you a referral that went nowhere, you're teaching them the better way. They're going to go back to work saying, well, gee, I missed it with Sally, but maybe it's Charlie. And you're going to motivate them to do a better job as you continue. Go for the relationships. The sale will always follow a well-built relationship. Don't set expectations at the beginning. It's been pretty amazing to me over the time where I start with a relationship with an attorney, hoping the attorney will become a client, and he ends up giving me a referral, in his case, many referrals, because he saw the seriousness of my relationship and care for him, and turned into hundreds of thousands of dollars in new clients from him, just because relationship preceded business. Now, always provide feedback on what happened in your call, in your reach out to that referral. Again, because it helps make everyone better. And be sure to teach people what that great introduction would look like. Now, the question is, who does this work for? Well, I think it's almost anyone who can fog a mirror, because relationships are so relevant and important and outstanding in an otherwise noisy, crazy world that we're in. But over the years, I've worked with thousands and thousands of professionals, small and medium-sized companies, business owners, freelancers. With the evolution of our economy, the amazing number of new business startups, new entrepreneurs, new freelancers, all coming into the market, all needing new business, and yet all creating noise for the most part because they don't know how to build relationships like you do today, and how to ask for referrals like you're going to be excellent at in the days ahead. It works for practically everyone. It's just a matter of making a plan, setting a goal, and getting started. So I'm looking forward to your questions today. There's an Engage Pro community group that we've started, and I want to thank those of you who have already joined the Engage Pro community group. We've been in existence at the invitation of Alignable for about 90 days, and our enrollment, our group size has just skyrocketed. And I want to thank all of you who are already in the group for helping bring us to the level where we are.